Good. So this is weekly discussion, week 62. And this week we're going to do a cause prioritization quiz. If you could please open this form, and that will have the quiz questions. Please answer the questions as we go through the quiz together. And we will look at a summary of the results at the end of the quiz before we go out to breakout rooms to discuss further about the questions, about why we responded the way we did. So your answers aren't private. Other people can see who wrote what, but they shouldn't be terribly personal questions either. So just as a quick recap, I think we all know what EA is, so I won't go over this. What is cause prioritization? Cause prioritization refers to the efforts to find the most important causes to work on. And oftentimes the ITN framework is used. This is the importance, tractability, and neglectedness framework. We want to work on causes that are all else equal, really important or very large in scale, that are tractable, that have plausible solutions to them, and also that are neglected. All else equal, we want to focus on causes that people aren't already tackling, so that if we actually choose to tackle it, we're getting something done that wouldn't otherwise get done. And a lot of times people apply ITN to talk about causes in the big picture, like how do we compare things like climate change versus global poverty? And that often involves really big numbers. And I think it can be quite abstract, and it doesn't get to the root of what a lot of EAs care about, which is, and a lot of Christians care about, right? Which is, how can I use my limited resources to make a difference? And how do I decide among many different charities to give to, which one I'll pick and what impact that's going to have. So my hope is that this quiz will give you a sense of what you value most and how you can resolve these trade-offs. And to do that, why don't we get started? So the first question on the quiz is it's a bit unlike the others. I just want to ask in a more touchy-feely way, when you think about doing good, what is most exciting to you? There should be 6 options here. The first is the gospel being shared. We think of evangelism, animals escaping suffering, saving human life, giving the poor their basic needs, reducing some kind of environmental harm, or preventing extinction or some other future catastrophes. So I want you to answer what you personally find most exciting in kind of a warm, fuzzy way. Not what you think is most important, but like what gets you emotionally or just personally the most amped to do good in the world. The second question is, and by the way, if you have any questions as we do this quiz, feel free to unmic yourself or unmute yourself and ask a question.
You want us to pick just one, JD, or it's hard, you know, it's an instinct to check lots of boxes.
The first one, you can check multiple boxes. That's fine. Maybe limit it to 2, ideally. So then with the rest of these quiz questions, and yeah, thanks for asking a question, Mike. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. Also, for the rest of these questions, after each question, there's going to be a follow-up question that asks how confident you are in your answer, that you made the right choice between that trade-off. So, you know, if you're really on the fence and you're not sure, oh, is this did I choose right or wrong? I don't know. Then you could give it like a score closer to 1 or 2. But if you feel very clear about how you resolve that trade-off, you can put like a 4 or a 5, and that'll help us later. So the first trade-off we're going to look at is a trade-off between saving human life and spreading the gospel or Christian evangelism. And I try to look at actual charities and look at actual quantified impacts from a certain amount of money. We're going to look at $4,500 for each of these trade-offs. And this first trade-off is between saving human life, and spreading the gospel. Would you rather save one person from dying, especially from malaria, right? Which is like a common example and an example that we can see with AMF or other GiveWell charities, or spend the same amount of money to fund a pastor to spread the gospel for a year. I know of multiple sources where this is this is at least a plausible amount of what it costs to fund a pastor in a low income country. I'm not going to advocate a specific charity, but among people who know this space well, I think this is not an unrealistic expectation. So I'm going to move on to the next question. I'll give you 5 more seconds. So the next question asks, would you rather donate the same amount of money, $4,500, to fund an EA university organizer's operations for 1 semester, working just a few hours a week, or give the same amount to fund a pastor to spread the gospel for a year? And I'll give you 10 more seconds. Feel free to skip ahead if you're moving faster than I am. So question number 4 asks, would you rather donate $4,500 to fund an EA uni organizer's operation or save 1 person from dying? Question number 5 asks whether you would save 1 person from dying or move 54,000 chickens from cages to cage-free facilities. And I want to be clear here. So if you look at animal charity evaluators and their recommended charities, one of them is Humane League, and the more conservative estimates put it at something like $1 to free 9 hens from cages for a whole year. So the saving 1 person from dying, this is 30 disability adjusted life years. Saving 54,000 chickens from cages to cage-free ranges, which also aren't perfect. That's 54,000 chicken life years by whatever improvement you would gauge this as. Luke, you have a question?
Yeah, I guess weedy question, sort of. When we're thinking about these, should we think about like we are displacing other donations that might happen? For example, I would never donate for an EA organization at a college because I know that Center for Effective Altruism covers that pretty well and trust them.
So that's a good question. I think to the extent that you know the answer, you should vote based off that. So like for you could vote for the EA university organizers no, because you understand those, you understand how you would move other people's funding.
Cool.
But for some of these you might not know. Yeah. So I don't know if that helps answers, but
helps answer me.
I don't think we can all answer. Yeah. Sorry, you're saying?
Yeah, that's helpful for me. Hopefully it's not confusing for others.
Cool. The next question is, would you rather donate to abate the CO2 emissions of 36 persons or 4,500 tons of CO2 from the atmosphere? And this is through Founders Pledges reviewed climate charities like Clean Air Task Force, Rainforest Nation. This is typical of their more effective charities, a typical estimate of what it costs per ton of CO2. Or move 54,000 chickens from cages to cage-free ranges. Next question. Would you rather donate to save 1 person from dying or abate the CO2 emissions? Okay, I'll go a bit quicker. Someone's telling me. Would you rather donate to save 1 person from dying or double the income of about 7 people living below the global poverty line at about $2 per day? And that would be through Give directly, if it wasn't clear. And finally, I want to know if I missed anything in this quiz that you would love to discuss. I hope to tackle 5 of the 6 cause areas I kind of touched on at the beginning between poverty, human health, animal welfare, EA movement building, climate and environment. I didn't touch on other long-termist causes because I'm not sure how to pose that in some kind of marginal analysis. But please, in the quiz form, insert some other trade-off you'd like us to consider. And if you could take 20 more seconds to finish your quiz and then submit it, what we'll do next is I'll open up the results and just do a quick read through of the results while we're doing this intro, and then we can discuss more in detail in the breakout rooms how everybody answered and what we find interesting and so forth. So I'll give you 10 more seconds to finish your quiz and submit it. Starting to realize I should have taken the quiz ahead of time. It's a bit hard to do the Zoom and the quiz at the same time. Okay, please submit that. I'll pull it up right now. So I'm just gonna blaze through these. So the first question about doing good.
Can you zoom in a bit more? They're really
I will, thank you.
small.
How is this?
That's better.
Okay. When you think about doing good, what's most exciting to you? Limited to 2 responses per person, saving human life clearly comes out on top. Wow, reducing environmental harm got 0 votes. An additional other here, enabling people to live with political freedom and agency. I think I know who put that one in, but this is good. Thank you for your comments. Number 2, would you rather donate $4,500 to save a life or fund a pastor? Okay, pretty strong vote for saving a life. And confidence, pretty heavily skewed towards very inconfident, and nobody gave 5 out of 5. I'm not sure how to translate this to a kind of like confidence interval sort of thing. I don't want to get that nerdy. I'm not even sure what that would mean, but that's something we could talk about. Would you rather donate $4,500 to fund an EA organizer's operation or to fund a pastor? Okay, here it was much more evenly split, and even more uncertainty. So would you rather donate $4,500 to fund an EA org's work or save one person from dying? Save one person from dying is very, very heavy. Your level of confidence, okay, much more split here. Overall, more confidence on this decision compared to the pastor comparisons. Between chickens and people, well, I'm actually surprised that a third of us voted for the chickens. I expected it to be less. 2/3 for the saving the person, 1/3 for the chickens. Confidence about the same as the last question. So CO2 emissions versus chickens. Okay, the same split, but 2/3 chickens, 1/3 emissions. Saving one person or saving the atmosphere, so to say, overwhelmingly for saving the person, and much more confidence on this one. And also just overwhelming majority voted for saving someone's life over doubling income. Some other things we could discuss are listed here. So what I would love to do is break out into rooms and discuss these further. Although, let me just end the call here and thank you all for end the recording here. And thank you all for your participation.